Hello, back with another VOD review. This is a gold support player named Snoopy. They are wanting some general feedback around, in particular, how to carry on support and looking at what mistakes they're making. They mention that they get sort of nervous and freak out and waste cooldowns and that their aim's a bit shaky and that sort of thing. So it sounds like they just want some general advice. I swear to God, I just changed the interval timing, maybe not. Oh, did it work that time? Work that time. Cool. They just want some general advice around, I guess, what they're doing wrong and how to carry better. I would start off by saying, like, in terms of like supports that you can carry on, like Juno's on like the lower end of the scale for sure. Um, but we'll have a bit of a look and see what happens. Start off with like we're healing a full health tank, right? So like if we're talking about like wanting to carry, I guess like we'd use these. First of all, like I would never start on this side of the map as Juno, to be honest. Like it'd make more sense for you and Kiri to swap places because if Kiri gets in trouble, she can TP out. Whereas if you get in trouble, you have two options like speed boost, pop a speed ring rather, and run in front of the entire enemy team, or pop a speed ring and run up this way and take a really long rotation where your team might die while you're rotating. So like you and Kiri should probably be on the opposite sides of each other. But like, you know, already we're sort of like wasting, we're pretty much 10 seconds in and we haven't actually like got a number on the scoreboard, right? So once we've established that they don't have a Widowmaker, like you might as well just like peek and do a little bit of damage, shoot someone in the head or something like that, right? I think this feels like extremely heal body. Like we're not really like, again, like we've probably done what, 50, 100, 140 healing. It's still like not a lot. Like I feel like we probably could have done like maybe like 200 damage already. And we could have done 200 damage and still like healed our team a little bit because our Kiriko is also heal botting. So at the moment we've just got two supports like heal botting. Neither of you have like shot the enemy at all, which again, like this is not how you like carry on support. Now we're in a tricky position. If this Reinhardt walks forward right now, again, your only option will be to take this speed ring and go in front of the entire enemy team, or to rotate up high. And you probably don't want to rotate up high because there's already a tracer there. Did the tracer walk past you? How did the tracer get there? Oh yeah, she went above your head. Yeah. I think you turned to look and didn't quite realize, but she went and blinked over there like that. Right, that's the first time we've attempted to shoot an enemy and we're 22 seconds into the game. Oh, we're going to hit one missiles, but it's pretty low value. I guess like it'd probably be better just to hold. Oh, okay, never mind. We end up, I guess the missiles help to get us a kill in the end, so it works out. I would say like flying up here in front of the entire enemy team minus the tracer who was just forced out to hit like a missile on a single target, like usually not like high value, right? Hopefully we're actually going to like turn and try and help him. Yeah, Kiriko TP's in and Zuzu. So actually we need to worry about our Kiriko right now because our Doom is out. But like surely we've just seen that our Kiriko has both teleported and Zuzu. So like our Kiriko is going to need help to get out now. Our Kiriko is really going to need help to get out now. Yeah, so we just have like that lack of awareness. Granted, our Kiriko seemingly just tried and failed to wall climb this 3 times in a row. Like this has to be some like Benny Hill theme shit right here. Like I just want to watch this for my own amusement, to be honest. Yeah, cool. That was quite amusing. Still, like there's a point there where, we've seen our Kiriko TP in right here. We've seen the Zuzu go off. So even if like we're not that aware of the TP, like surely we're noticing the Zuzu, right? Doomfist is out. He's all good now. We do need to like potentially try and help our Kiriko. Maybe in the end you wouldn't have been able to help her anyway because she failed every wall climb and died in a corner where you couldn't see her. But I mean, ordinarily, I think if this wasn't like a I don't know, like a bronze player on Kiriko or whatever, like you'd probably be looking to try and help your Kiriko to get out, more so than to pocket the Doomfist. I think now's a good time to potentially. I think there's also like a missile timing right here as well. I think like 2-1. I think like we're potentially looking to like charge our missiles now, hitting both him and potentially 2 enemies as well. We cancelled our missiles. Why did we cancel our missiles? We held them for too long as well, because you get the cooldown refund if you cancel them earlier than this, no? But yeah, we ended up cancelling them, which is a bit of a shame. So we put it on nearly a full cooldown for that. Otherwise, this is fine. I think like you are stuck in a heal bot pattern right now. One, your Kiriko kind of messed up there. But 2, like I don't know that you can save him. So I feel like the goal right now is to maybe help both of these players that you can see, and then potentially like hit some damage on these guys, right? It still might be potentially savable at the moment because it is a 4v4. Like I don't think that you need to like run away and back out completely, and it looks like the Emre might even be able to get out. Okay, we have our cooldowns up here. So we've got a speed ring right now. I would be putting a speed ring here in the middle to potentially help out our Doomfist a little bit in between heals. Your positioning throughout this like part, ever since the Kiriko died, your positioning's been fine. I think like maybe it'd be good to get more value from our cooldowns, our missiles and that sort of thing, but given like the health pools of everybody, there wasn't like this huge pressure for you to go and start like doing heaps of damage and that sort of thing. You're just trying to keep people alive, which makes sense. Your team's actually traded really like equitably, so it is a 2v2 at the moment, but like their team, especially because their Tracer was the first death, their team will be back long before us. So we like really need to be thinking about like maybe getting out of harm's way and making a rotation back around Hotel right now, because we don't want to still be fighting here when the Tracer walks out of spawn, and Tracer's going to be here in about 6 seconds time because she's only got 1 second left on her respawn. We've got speed ring up. We really need to, use that speed ring a lot sooner, right? Like our Doomfist dies, our Emre dies. We really need to like, at this moment here, there should already be like a speed ring at our feet, and we should be like gliding and getting back right now. You could glide, get back, and still heal this cast, because if you go back this way, I'm willing to bet that the cast will rotate through Hotel, so you can heal him. You can come back, you'll have to give a little bit of point control. You might even have to give like 1 or 2 ticks of the point, right? But your Doomfist would be back in time to contest the 3rd tick. But I think in summary of this first point, I think like as Juno, we probably don't want to start on this side. We probably want to start on this side. I think instead of like essentially just like healing our tank like 8 times in a row who takes no damage, like maybe we're like trying to like shoot some of the players that are around here. Or if we do want to start here, fine. But maybe again, instead of like healing a full health tank, we try and do a little bit of damage, and then we look back. I guess like if you're talking about how to carry on support, it's not enough to just like heal bot your team. Like you need to actually like do damage and get kills. Again, I don't think Juno's like an amazing like carry support, not to the extent of like an Anna or a BAP and that sort of thing. But I think, realistically, I'm sure I could jump into a gold lobby and, quotation marks, carry on Juno, right? She does have like a headshot multiplier. She has like good evasive movement. Like you can potentially hit some good missiles where you're hitting a bunch of targets at once. And Juno has a pretty good ult where like if you ult, get some good missiles and get some good like left clicks for damage, you can definitely start to clean up. So I think those were the key issues for first point. We do also move like a little bit faster when we're gliding. Just hang on. Let's actually look at this little rollout here. So I guess multiple players get our speed ring, so that's good. Just keep in mind, you do actually move slightly faster when gliding as well. You're also like walking into walls and getting stuck on walls. So there's a bit of pressure to like get back to the control point at the moment. And so we're actually like taking the longest path. So these players here are taking a shorter path to get back than you guys. This is like slightly longer. So it would be obviously good to potentially go back with your team. You can glide as well to save a little bit of time, because your Doom almost definitely can touch here. It just comes down to whether or not he should touch. And if the rest of his team is slow, then like probably not. I guess the Orisa could always stop him from getting the touch as well. So let's think more about our missiles. Like, okay, like our Doom is probably going to get this missile unless he walks back around the corner. But like our Emre is also hurt. And instead of like taking a step back to get two people, we're only like hitting the Doom with the missile, right? So we do need to like look. I would say like if you're not hitting at least like 2 or 3 targets with missiles, then it's probably like not a good missile. Whether that's 2 or 3 like friendly targets or like 1 friendly target and 2 enemies, like we don't want to like use a like 12-second cooldown to like hit 1 person, right? Or I think, is it 12 seconds? I could be wrong. 10-second cooldown. Cool. Again, I think like Iliari doesn't actually really need heals either because she's gonna like chill on the pile and you could like heal her once here. Obviously we like shoot a wall, which is a shame. But it'd be really good to see like instead of like healing all this like tiny little bits of chip damage through here, right? Like we're worrying about healing people who are missing like 20 health. Like let's just, it makes sense to heal the Iliari once, but let's turn the corner and let's try and like do a little bit of damage as well. Like let's get a little bit more value because we're doing a lot of, that's another 1-player missiles. So I feel like we're probably going to stop watching once we get to here because I think it's just going to be the same thing every few fights. So we need to look for more opportunities to just weave in a little bit of damage. Like you don't need to go like full DPS mode and ignore the team and walk in front of your team, but like I would say that you've had a lot of downtime already and we're only like 2 minutes into the game, and the downtime isn't you literally AFK and doing nothing. The downtime is you just like healing a tank that's not getting shot, healing DPS when they're missing like 15 health, right? Like we can find opportunities to shoot the enemy more, do more damage, put more pressure on, hopefully get more picks, especially because we're a very like poke, you know, we have like 3 good poke heroes on our team. Like if you do 40 damage to somebody and like the cast does a body shot and the Iliari maybe hits a headshot or Emre hits a couple of headshots, that person might die, right? Whereas without your little 40 damage, it like decreases the chances of that other poke resulting in a kill, right? So, and also like missiles, I feel like every missiles has been like a single player missile so far. So we really want to try and get like multiple players. But having said that, like don't ever like feel like you have to like hit like a 5-man missile to the point where you're like, oh, I've only got 1 player, I guess I'll like glide up and poke around and hover out in the middle of the enemy team because I was told that I need to hit 3 or 4 people. So like obviously we wouldn't come out here and just fly out in the open against all these players just for the sake of hitting 2 more missiles, right? Because we would probably die. Juno struggles against hit scans. Like Juno's really good against a lot of DPS because she's so like evasive and slippery and stuff. But particularly against hit scans like Cassidy, Soldier, and Emre, I think like it's kind of scary to play Juno sometimes because they don't have any trouble shooting you. But we ideally want to stop with these 1-player missiles, right? They don't need healing. So if we're speed ringing right now, instead of speed ringing back, I'd actually like to see you like maybe like poke out a little bit here with the speed ring. The Doomfist has sort of got the Orisa boxed up a little bit. I would actually think the Orisa would like win the 1v1 in there. But if you can sort of like poke this way a little bit right now without hopefully dying to the Orisa, then what you might do is you might like make any of these players think twice about coming in, moving up and helping the Orisa. And if you can like make this soldier D-peak or this tracer D-peak just for a couple of seconds, it's going to increase the chances of the other 3 players in your team killing this Orisa. Right, and I think that Emre's probably got the same idea as well because I think Emre's been shooting Soldier. So what we want to kind of do here is make the Orisa more and more isolated. Maybe just peek it just for a second or two, 1 or 2 shots, and then make sure you turn back and shoot the Orisa or heal your Doom or whatever, right? But I think like in this situation when the Orisa is like kind of boxed up a little bit, we don't want to speed ring and walk backwards. We want to speed ring and engage ideally. Right, now we probably need to use our glide to get out because instead of helping to control space, our Doomfist has now backed out because we also backed up a bit as well. And I think you guys are about to get Terror Surge. So luckily there's already a speed ring up, but you potentially need to like, as soon as you're hit by the Terror Surge, you should hopefully get sucked into the speed ring and then you need to glide out. Okay, she used it a little bit later, but you can still probably get out of this. Oh, it's close. It was close. You're really, really close to getting out of this one, right? Because you're actually, I think you've just hit the speed ring just now, so you're moving a little bit faster. the problem that you had is that you didn't like back up fast enough. You sort of like turned back trying to hit this. You're right on the edge of it as well. You sort of like turn back to try and get value from these missiles because you've used the cooldown anyway. I think like, you know, if we think about like obvious ult usage from an enemy, like I gave this example on this exact same map like a few days ago. Like if we see a Reaper and he's just like kind of walking forwards at us, right? And then he like suddenly uses his Wraith Walk and he keeps walking forwards during Wraith Walk. It's like we all know what he's doing, right? Like he's a terrible Reaper player. He's making a really like obvious Death Blossom attempt. This is like a really obvious like Terror Surge that's about to happen. I don't need the benefit of seeing that she has Terror Surge to expect a Terror Surge here. Why else would an enemy Orisa like walk into your back line other than to Terror Surge, right? So we need to be already like looking at trying to get out of here. And I think because we like slow ourselves down on the exit, we actually like walk forwards a little bit more. And then we realize we need to get out, but it's too late at that point. So we need to be a bit better at like reading the game. On the one hand, like you might be a bit more survivable on Moira, but I think Moira will also offer your team a lot less benefit. Actually, like having a Juno against an Orisa is really, really nice because your speed ring can do a lot to help the rest of your team get out of Terror Surges. And I think like Juno feels better against most of their comp, to be honest. I also think Juno has, for the most part, a much better ultimate. Yeah, I mean, we're basically just like fully drained our heal resource before the fight's actually started. At this point now, the Emre doesn't need any more heals. Because it leaves a lingering heal effect. He'll probably get his health bar up to almost full. He'll be missing like 20 health at this point, and his own passive will kick in soon anyway. Moira like Iliari resource based healer. Like you need to actually like juggle this resource really well. And I think especially because you've just thrown the healing orb out, he's a support that has both shields and the support passive. Like like he doesn't need any more heals after your healing orb has come out. The Doomfist potentially a little bit, but I mean he's outside of your range, so you're just spraying a wall. So I think if we're thinking about Moira, like we probably don't want to be like shifting in to like try and engage a team fight with no healing resource, right? It's a good reaction there. This is good to see. I don't think we need to fully mark the Tracer right now. I think we can keep walking forwards. I guess there's no like harm in throwing the orb there to zone her a little bit. We just missed like a full heal on our Emre. I recognize that you're on console, so sometimes it's like a little bit harder, right, to aim, but like Moira isn't really like a very like aim intensive support. You just have to have your crosshair like somewhere near them, and like your crosshair is like pretty far from that Emre, right? So we're still sort of stuck in a bit of a heal bot loop, but it looks like it looks like we might be able to kill the Orisa, but unfortunately the life group comes in. Got to think about like range and stuff as well. In your post, I think you mentioned that you play like 7 different characters or something. What did we say? We said Juno, Moira, Zen, Anna, and Lucio. My advice is probably to like lock in on like 2 characters at this point. I feel like I could go through this, and if you play 5 different characters in this game, I could give you like tips for 5 different characters, and it'd probably be multiple tips per character, right? But the reality is like it's completely pointless to like receive coaching that tells you, all right, these are like the 11 things that you need to focus on moving forward. Like I think like for you, gold player, I think like adaptability and flexibility to play like 5 or 6 different supports is like not needed in gold. Like I think you should just lock on 2 characters. So I think like we've already seen a bit of Juno. I'm just seeing how long we play Moira for at this stage. So it seems like we play Moira for quite a while. I would say as well, like I don't really see what like, okay, so now we're on Zen. I don't really see like why we would swap Moira there either. Like I don't think that like Moira is an objectively better pick. So we stay on Zen for a while. All right, let's watch a little bit of the Moira gameplay and then I think we'll wrap it up. So I think roughly the life group comes through, so we stopped just after this. So this makes sense, this hard pocket here. I think he just needs to D-peek. I think an orb out, and it's a good orb because it's an orb that'll probably bounce back to your Emre as well. Yeah. Not sure if you thought about that or not, or if you were even aware that Emre was low because you were pocketing him, but at least he gets both of you. It looks like you guys should be able to get an easy touch here with Doomfist engaging in. Yeah. I think we've got an orb again, and it makes sense, I think, to just throw a damage orb like straight down the guts right now. He probably doesn't need hard pocket. Your life weave will be able to pocket him anyway. Let's just like throw a little bit of damage out and try and help. We probably also might need to like consider fading here to touch the point if the Doomfist isn't doing it. That's all right. Their life weave decides not to push. All right, we throw our damage orb out. It's pretty late, but it might potentially still kill that Mizuki maybe. Nah, he's too fast. It's too fast, and it bounced the wrong way as well. I think because you threw it up at the sky here, it like bounced in a weird way. Probably better to just throw it against this wall. Alright, so what happened? How did we end up on 13 health? So Tracer comes behind, we mark the Tracer. We wouldn't usually like throw damage orbs at a Tracer because she's so mobile. Obviously like the damage from the damage orb isn't that high, like it needs to actually like be on someone for a while to do anything meaningful. Like we don't throw it at really high mobility characters like a Pharah or a Tracer who have like, you know, like three different cooldowns or three different charges of a blink, whatever, to like easily get away from it. You know, like if we're wanting to throw a damage orb, we're throwing it at like more stagnant stationary players. Like if the goal is just to get a bit of ult charge, then we're probably again like throwing it to bounce off of this wall so that it'll hopefully bounce this way and then hopefully bounce this way, right? I get that you want to like screen out the Tracer, but I think like at this stage, like, you know, you've right clicked her, you've actually like you've already taken off like half of her damage, and the orb ends up doing nothing in the end. She recalled behind you, she's still behind you. Down to 13 health, we fade. We choose not to grab the Mega, which I think is a huge blunder, right? And then we die for it. So you faded in and it looked like you're about to grab the Mega, but then you faded back out sort of thing. Like if you're 13 health, just go grab this and then rotate around here and start healing your team again. So you're the only ult on the team, you die. If you don't die here, this looks like, I don't know that it's winnable, but it's like a maybe. Like, although they do have Terra Surge, your team's really slippery, so like, and there's a life grip available at the moment. There should be. There is, yep. So there shouldn't be like a Terra Surge threat realistically. It might be difficult to get a lot of value into the Mizuki ult. I haven't actually played Moira this season, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure that Moira ult would go through Mizuki ult, wouldn't it? Because it's a beam and not a projectile. I could be wrong. I haven't actually tested it, but in theory, like your Doomfist could potentially just like block and hold this up, and you could use your Moira ult to keep him alive, and might be just enough time to build a tree and then sort of leverage something from there, right? But obviously not very winnable if you die. It feels like we don't understand Moira's range a lot as well, because we're like, I don't know, it's like we see enemies and we sort of like right click here as if we're going to do some damage to them. I don't think we'll watch anymore. I think instead I'm just going to give you like general tips for Moira. So I think like one key thing for Moira is think a lot about your orb value. Yeah, like orb is like actually like pretty good for Moira, and it's one of the best things that Moira can contribute to a team fight, because Moira doesn't have a lot of really cool cooldowns like other supports have. Like she doesn't have like a sleep or a nade to do crowd control or force space out. She doesn't have like a Baptiste lamp to save someone from like certain death, or a Zuzu, Kiriko Zuzu. You know, like people like to say that she lacks like utility, which is true. She has like she can only heal or damage. There's nothing else that Moira can contribute other than heal or damage. So, and Orb is a great source of both healing and damage. So we want to always be thinking about like where we're throwing orbs, like the line it's going to take, and like bounces on those orbs, right? Like I'm pretty sure we have orb. Oh, okay, so we used an orb at some point here. Let's look at this one. Actually a pretty like fair and reasonable orb, to be honest. Like he's critical, that orb's going to get some bounces, but we always want to think about like our bounces on orbs. So never just like walk out of spawn and just like throw an orb like just cause. Think about like where you want that orb to go afterwards to try and get value from it. And particularly when we're talking like damage orbs, because from here, if I was to throw a damage orb, I would obviously want to hopefully make sure that the Orisa doesn't have spear spin up. But if I was standing here, I would throw my damage orb to land right here. And then from here, it would bounce over to here or over to here, one way or another, and then hopefully bounce back towards the cart. So we're potentially like tickling like 5 or 6 different players, which would help us build ult charge, but probably wouldn't result in any kills, right? I think a lot of the time healing orbs are more valuable because like your Moira orb, unless like you have a Doomfist that's in and also doing damage, like a Moira orb alone will never kill anyone. Other key things from Moira are thinking about like your resource management, like how long do you actually need to hold down left click on people? Because we saw it when you were kind of pushing around here before, like you over pocket people, and then like when you actually move up and the team fight's actually going to start, you have no healing resource. So remember that like Moira does do like a lingering heal effect. So for a few seconds, I think it's 2 or 3 seconds after healing someone with your left click, they'll still have like a little lingering effect. You can also use that in a pre-fight or a poke phase where like if you imagine like the enemy team's maybe a bit closer right now, you don't need to like hold down, but you can just like briefly touch left click on a few different players. You'd use almost no healing resource, but it means that for the next few seconds, like if they do take a little bit of chip damage, that like lingering heal will kick in, which is quite nice. I think another key thing with Moira is when you do run out of resource, knowing like tech to get the orb back, the resource back faster, right? So a lot of low rank players on Moira will like run out of healing resource, then they'll be like, all right, I need to do some damage to get it back. So then they hold down right click on a single target. It is significantly faster to build your resource by tapping right click on and off, because each time it like connects to a target, you get an immediate small burst of healing resource back. So like if you're 0 resource, you will get full resource much faster by rapidly tapping on and off right click rather than holding it down. The downside is that you'll do less damage. So when you're right clicking, you just want to think about like, am I right clicking for damage or am I right clicking for resource charge? Because obviously if you're right clicking for damage, you're just holding it down, right? And then I think obviously with Coalescence, it's all about like the lineup, right? Like as much as possible, similar to what I said about the Juno missiles before, like you don't want to be like coalescing a single target if you can help it. You ideally want to be using coalescence to, like beam through a teammate into enemies because of the penetration, right? I also think coalescence can be like a good tempo ult. So if we go back to like when you died back here, I feel like we have coalescence long before we get down to 13 health, do we not? Maybe not, actually. Nah, we don't actually. That's a bit of a bummer. As I said, I think like potentially coalescence could have helped here, but even in the next fight after we respawn about here, like we're just okay. So we do use it. Okay. So that's what I was going to say. I feel like we can potentially just like use this as a tempo walk because our Doomfist seems a bit hesitant at going in, but hopefully we've actually seen an Orisa Javelin come out because the only interrupt on the enemy team is an Orisa Javelin, right? There's the Javelin. She misses the Javelin. Mission accomplished, to be honest. Like you made the entire enemy team just backstep, and I feel like Coalescence is a good tempo ult. One of the good things about Moira is that she does build ult really, really fast, particularly when you're running like a team comp that plays close together where she's getting like multiple multiple people in a left click heal. And that's why Moira is kind of popular on some control maps and stuff where it's a bit more tight, close range action, like, you know, Lijiang control center and stuff like that. Because you'll probably be the first person to build ult, and then your ult can just win that team fight just from like overwhelming like numbers of healing and damage, right? So I think there's nothing wrong with using Coalescence as a tempo ult like this, just to gain space, make the enemy walk back, and then, you know, re-establish your team where you want to be. I think it made sense that you faded out there. I think you've got an orb up right now, and it'd be good to maybe see you throw like a healing orb, but because your Doomfist just died. So you go back, you're 30 health, your Doomfist is still in. I think there's a timing here where we throw a healing orb directly in front of us. It will heal us for a little bit, and it'll also potentially save your Doomfist. Additionally, I don't think I saw you do it, did I? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, yeah. So it looks like we threw out an orb. We always want to throw out an orb just before we use our Coalescence, because that means we'll have another orb at the end of it guaranteed, right? We're spending a lot of time sort of just like standing out in the open as well, which is like not ideal. But having said that, like your tank's dead, you know, you wouldn't really get any value by like walking back to here because you've got nothing to shoot at, and you'd almost be outside of range of these players unless they're back as well. So I guess this is like fine overall. Given that you're on a pedal and there's someone up there, I'd actually love to see you potentially like fade over to here right now, because the only enemy player that could potentially like do anything would be like the enemy life weaver at this stage, and he's not going to be able to boost anyone up there. So it might seem counterproductive because you're like, oh, but Moira's not like a long ranged hero, but like these players down here are probably fine. It'd be interesting to see you like come up here and take another angle, and then if you needed to, you could always like fade and then do a bunny hop to get back to here and heal these players afterwards if needed. But maybe we end up killing the Orisa here anyway. I'm not sure why we treed then. We probably don't want to walk in here like this. If you get javelined, I think you'll be in a bit of trouble. You're fine, you get out. So we just threw a damage orb at nothing. We're healing. I guess we're trying to heal our Doomfist, but I feel like we're healing the enemy Orisa right now. We've got Fade, we can live this. Okay, so it would probably be really good right now to see you like maybe look at your Emre during his ult, right? So we're not able to save the Doomfist, but your Emre's ulting, and instead of like, I guess he's too far away at this stage, so no, there's nothing you could have done. I think it's just an unfortunate team fight overall. And then I assume they just cap after that. Alright, so we'll do a bit of a recap. I think like the Moira part of this VOD was probably not overly helpful, because I think that like Moira wasn't the right hero to choose. I think like you should have just stayed on Juno or potentially gone to like Anna or something. But if we sort of recap the issues at first, so I think we took the wrong angle, we were like overly heal body, we didn't look for damage when needed, and then we didn't react very well to what was happening around us. So I think we got a bit too caught up on trying to like pocket the tank throughout, and we're not looking at our DPS often enough. Obviously like the Kiriko wall climb incident was a bit unfortunate, and I don't think that you could have really saved her, but it also didn't really look like you even were aware that she was there. So assuming that your Kiriko is in a total muppet and doesn't like try and climb an unclimbable wall, then they probably would have come back this way to you. And I'm not sure that you were like ever aware of your Kiriko's presence back there. I think you know, we need to use our speed ring a bit more proactively to either get in and out of fights. So as the fight starts going badly and your Doomfist is walking back, maybe we need to like pop a speed ring in between heals to give him and the Cassidy that were here a better chance to get out. And when an Orisa starts walking directly at us, we need to like use our speed ring or our glide to get away. I think, again, like missiles, try and make sure that you're hitting 2 or 3 people with a missile all the time. Again, like don't feed to do it. don't like completely poke the enemy team and be like, well, I want more people. Like you'll just get yourself killed. And then look out for like really obvious like signs of, you know, an Orisa trying to terror surge you like back here when she's just like walking into your back line fortified. Like it feels a bit like suspicious, doesn't it? Otherwise, for Moira, like I said, focus on like key things of like, where is this orb going to go after I use it? Like, is it going to be useful for 1 second, or can I make it useful for 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever the case may be, right? And then, yeah, just be more conscious of like your resource generation. We could talk a lot more about like positioning and stuff, but I feel like Moira positioning is difficult, and we already talked about your Juno positioning a little bit. So I would just focus on like more value from mid cooldowns, better awareness of what's happening. Like, do you need to be walking back or do you need to be walking forwards right now? I think if you focus on those key things and maybe like work on that a bit, then maybe we could do another VOD review in the not too distant future. Hopefully this helps. Good luck.